Friends had a variety of guest characters, and a wild theory suggests that one of its creepiest ones sneakily returned in Joey's, Matt LeBlanc, spin-off show. One of the best TV shows of all time, as well as one of the most influential ones, is Friends. Created by David Crane and Marta Kauffman, Friends premiered on NBC in 1994 and ended in 2004 after 10 seasons and breaking different records. Friends followed the ups and downs in the lives of Monica, Courtney Cox, Chandler, Matthew Perry, Phoebe, Lisa Kudrow, Joey, Ross, David Schwimmer, and Rachel, Jennifer Aniston. Friends gave its main characters a definitive ending, but as Joey was the only one who remained single, and given the success of the show, he was granted a spin-off show. Released in 2004, just months after Friends' finale, and simply titled Joey, the show followed LeBlanc's character as he moved to Hollywood, hoping to finally succeed as an actor. Joey featured new characters, though some, like his sister Gina, Drea de Matteo, were briefly featured in Friends, but one wild theory claims one disturbing character sneakily returned in Joey's show, Chandler's former roommate, Eddie, Adam Goldberg. Adam Goldberg played Chandler's roommate Eddie in Friends and Jimmy in Joey's spin-off show. First was Eddie, then Jimmy. Joey TV show Joey and Jimmy. In Friends Season 2, after Joey began to succeed as part of the cast of Days of Our Lives, he moved into a luxurious apartment all by himself. Chandler found a new roommate not long after, Eddie, who, even though he seemed like a good match for Chandler as a roommate, soon showed that wasn't the case. Eddie hated Baywatch and loved sports, while Chandler loved the former and wasn't into the latter, and Eddie gradually began to show his strangest and most disturbing traits. Eddie stole mannequins, dehydrated fruit for fun, spied on Chandler while he slept, and gaslit Chandler many times. The only way Chandler found to get rid of Eddie was by using Eddie's manipulation tricks against him. Chandler left all of Eddie's belongings at the bottom of the stairs, changed the lock, and when Eddie, angrily, knocked on the door, Chandler pretended not to know him, as he already had a roommate, Joey, who had happily moved back. This worked, and Eddie believed Chandler, finally leaving him alone. However, this wasn't the end of Adam Goldberg's participation in the world of Friends. Joey Season 2 introduced Jimmy Costa, also played by Adam Goldberg. Jimmy was Joey's former best friend, with whom he hadn't spoken in 22 years. It was later revealed that Jimmy stopped talking to Joey because he had been sleeping with Gina, and he was the father of Gina's son, Michael. Joey said that Jimmy was the smartest person he knew, and they eventually made amends. A theory suggests Friends Eddie and Joey's Jimmy are the same person. Eddie Jimmy just became more disturbing. Adam Goldberg's double participation in the world of Friends has led to a theory about him playing the same character in Friends and Joey, via The Gamer. It's not just that they are played by the same actor, but both Eddie and Jimmy show similar traits, most notably anger issues. While Eddie blamed Chandler for having an affair with his ex-girlfriend and killing his fish, none of those happened. By the way, Jimmy threatened to skip town more than once. Eddie was obviously a very disturbed individual who didn't really know limits, so the idea would be that he followed Joey, Chandler's roommate, to Los Angeles and stalked him enough to pose as his former best friend and Gina's former partner. An alternative to this would be that Jimmy posed as Eddie in Friends, but that makes the theory more complicated, as wild and disturbing as it would be that Friends Eddie and Joey's Jimmy were the same person. There's a lot playing against the theory. Supposing Eddie posed as Jimmy when Joey moved to Hollywood, Joey must have recognized him, given that Jimmy was his best friend, and he met Eddie. Gina would also have known something wasn't right with Jimmy, as they knew each other very, very well. If Jimmy had posed as Eddie when Joey moved out in Friends, Joey would have recognized his old friend when he saw him at his old apartment. Surely, Joey was never the brightest crayon in the box, but even he would have noticed at some point that Eddie and his old friend Jimmy looked a bit too similar. As fun as this theory is, there's not enough evidence that could point to Friends Eddie and Joey's Jimmy being the same, creepy, character.